Hey Geeks, welcome back to the Geeks Show. I'm Josh.
I'm Anna.
And in this video, we're going to be talking about Critical Role Campaign 3, Episode 3. So, if you haven't seen it yet and you want to avoid any spoilers, skip this video and come back later because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler. Oh, Bertrand. We said from the start, and it's been like a really big fan theory for a while. Bertrand's either gonna get killed off early in the campaign, or Travis is
reoccurring.
Or Travis is gonna be in and out part time. Yeah. And that was our thought as well. And it looks like we were spot on. We're 3 episodes in, and Bertrand was killed off at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say about this is I saw it coming. As soon as he said that, sometimes you just got to stay up and watch the sunset or something.
Sunrise.
So, yes, stay up and watch the sunrise. I was like, oh, well, he's not going to get to see the sunrise. He's going to die, for sure.
Yeah, I got that same feeling. And then he kept talking about going on a walk, and I was like, all right, well, if he doesn't die, he's going to get kidnapped.
Mm-hmm. In that, yeah. But of course, he was ambushed by that dwarven entity and was, I will say, in that moment, I wish that Bertrand had been able to go down fighting, and that whatever kind of entity that is wasn't so quick because Bertrand was ready. He was drunk, sure, but he was ready. But there was no initiative. The thing just got the drop on him, and then he was done.
Yeah. Like it did feel to me like Matt gave Travis the opportunity to attack first, and he decided to wait it out and do a bravado thing, and it backfired.
Matt, I guess, did tweet about it. I didn't see the tweets. I read it in an article, and I guess he and Travis did kind of work out before the campaign started that Travis wanted his main character to come along later in the campaign, at least a little bit later. So it seems like it's gotten to that point where maybe his main character might show up in the next, maybe not the next episode, the episode after that, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Travis might not be there next episode. But they kind of worked out that, Bertrand was going to meet a grim end. And so I feel like, if Travis was just like, if he goes down in combat, he goes down in combat. But then he didn't, so they kind of worked it in, well, if he doesn't, this is how we're going to do it. Yeah,
it felt like that to me. Like, they had a plan, and when that didn't happen, this was like a backup, just in case type thing.
And we haven't talked about this yet, and I want to get your thoughts on it, because this has been going through my head all day. Anna had to work today, so she didn't get to stay up last night and
half
watch
of it last night, half today after work.
I watched the whole thing last night, so my brain's just been all day today. Imogen had a vision of Bertrand as he passed, and first of all, the set, the red light on the set was so cool.
Yes, so good.
But I mean, yes, Imogen has this psychic link. But what was it about Bertrand that she felt his death?
Yeah, was that thing with Imogen, was that directly related to Bertrand, or is that something that has to do with her subclass? I'm interested in knowing which one it is. Would it have mattered who in there went down, or was it something specific to Bertrand themselves? I'm not convinced that it had anything to do with Bertrand necessarily, but I do think it has to do with anybody she's talked to in their head.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
My whole thing was, I'm like, man, I wonder if she's got some kind of familial connection to Bertrand that we'll find out about later. Because we know next to nothing about Imogen.
Yeah.
She's one of the only characters who we really don't have much info on.
I feel this campaign, there's been little backstory drops, little nuggets here along the way, even just 3 episodes in, whereas last campaign it was like they all kept it very close to the chest and didn't want anybody to find out what their backstory was.
We already know that Laudna is from Whitestone, and it definitely seems like she was one of the bodies hanging from the Sun Tree.
Yeah.
We know that FCG had a group before, and everyone but him died, and it seems like there was something nefarious going on there. We know that Ashton has debts.
Yeah.
Apparently to some very bad people.
And there's a woman that there's something with a woman, because when he asked Milo to look into Lord Estros, he said make sure she doesn't find out. So there's something going on there. Like, there was a lot of action backstory throughout this episode. And
we know from EXU that there's a lot going on with Fern. Oren's got his own thing. It's not necessarily as intriguey, like mystery kind of thing going on.
Anyway,
although he is looking for someone, and he I think he said that it's a good person that he's looking for.
Yeah. I feel like I caught that too. That it's not either. I don't know if he said that the person they're looking for is good or not necessarily bad. I don't remember how he phrased it, but I did get the impression that who they're looking for isn't like an evil person that they're tracking down. We got Dorian's backstory in EXU as well, so like we know a little bit of his backstory. So really the only person that we don't have a lot of backstory on is Imogen.
We're like super in the dark on Imogen. Because I rewatched the second half with Anna tonight, and knowing that Bertrand dies at the end and just watching Travis's face throughout the second half of the episode, I'm like, that man. I'm like, he knows. If you just look at his facial expression, I'm like, he knows.
Yeah, when he insisted on getting drunk, I was like, something's going on. And then when he insisted on walking alone, like even more, like it just kind of solidified. It was it was why everybody around, and he was showing off his money, and I was like, ooh, something's gonna happen.
And I think the rest of the cast knew too, though.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Dorian stayed with them, and I feel like Robbie was just kind of
Robbie's like, "What are you doing, dude? What are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing?"
And I think he did that so that it wouldn't be like, oh, they're just letting him go off on his own, and they're totally okay with it. And like, I think that's why Robbie did that. And then Fern bought him a drink, and he was. So I'm like, everybody had not everybody, but most of the characters had some kind of goodbye with.
Yeah, the characters that it made sense to have a goodbye with him had their goodbye with him.
Yeah. So the big mystery now is what is this dwarf that Dennis got mixed up in, and also I do want to talk about Dennis for a second. Ashton said something about she's a bad person who got mixed in with bad people and bad things happened. I don't think Dennis was necessarily a bad person. I think good people get mixed in with bad people all the time, and bad things happen.
Yeah, I feel like we don't know enough. Like, Dennis absolutely could be a bad person. We have no idea. Yeah. We just don't have enough information. But, yeah, it did give us some insight into Ashton as a character. Of, like, they have just a simplistic version. Like, I mean, that's what happens to people. But they also seem to be living that life, and maybe that's what they expect for themselves.
And I feel like they've seen a lot of shit and maybe have become jaded.
Yeah, maybe.
Back to the dwarf. First of all, that combat was for a level 3 combat.
That was really good.
That was really good. Level 3 really good. Combat in D&D can kind of bog down sometimes and not be that interesting. First of all, Matt's combat is always interesting.
Yeah, it's always usually
but low level combat can be a little tough, I think, anyway. And that combat was super cool with all the little shade. What were they called? Shade creepers.
Yeah, shade creepers.
That was really cool. And they like little explode when they die.
And I the way he did the combat was super impressive to me, because like I was so focused on what they were all doing, and then that big old area of darkness came up, and I was like, oh man, totally forgot about that second room. And I remember seeing it when he first laid out the map. I was like, oh, there's another room back there. And then as soon as the fighting started, and that especially when that darkness went up, never even occurred to me, oh, I wonder if he slipped out the room. In fact, when Imogen went there, I'm like, what is she talking about? And I was like, oh shit, yeah. Forgot all about that. I also like how he had little tidbits hidden in the room for them to find, like Deanna's, which I like at first I was like, of course Deanna's has to be in there, but then like they kept searching and searching and nobody's finding anything, so I'm like,
I do think, I mean, that was, yeah, it took him a while to get through that door, and doors in this episode were a real problem.
Doors are always a problem, let's be honest.
But it took him a while to get in there, but still, I don't think that was a very long time to stash that body. So I think it was the shade creepers who kind of took that body and stuffed it away.
Yeah,
rather than the dwarf.
Yeah, and the dwarf, that's why the dwarf had to call the shade creepers afterwards. I also like how there's a little 1 by 1 foot opening underneath the desk that hopefully they go back and explore.
Yeah, I'm right. That's how the Shade Creepers came back in, or how they got
where
there.
They got there in the first place.
Right.
Or if, because, you know, the dwarf probably wouldn't be much bigger than Orm, and Orm said that he could fit through there. So did the dwarf go out the window, or, I mean, I'm assuming he did, because that was, I couldn't see the
I
map,
think a
so I
dwarf
didn't
would
know
probably
where the
still be a
desk
little
was.
too big to fit in that hole. It's just a little 1 foot hole. And I think that'd be a tight fit even for Orm, and Orm is pretty lanky and thin.
But it's a possibility anyway.
I do want them to go back and check that out. They kind of sneak in at night maybe when nobody, you know, just a little bit of sneaky and get in there and check it out, because there's
definitely
something there.
Going
There's something there.
There's definitely something there.
Talking about now we talked about the big stuff for this episode, getting into the first half, the door, and basically what I was thinking the whole time through the whole first half of the episode, when they were at the warehouse, you know, are we going to go in? Are we not going to go in? You know, everything just kind of went to shit. Basically, it was like, man, half of this party is like Inspector Jacques Clouseau from the Pink Panther movies, where he just has no idea what he's doing, and everything goes wrong, but it kind of sort of works out anyway.
Yeah, like Orm being a voice of reason. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's how that character's built. Why was Ashton the voice of reason in this episode? At least in the first half. Like, he's the one being like, what are y'all doing? What's the plan? Have y'all never crimed?
He said it like 2 or 3 times. Have you never crimed?
Ashton just face palmed the entire first half of the episode. They were like, y'all.
You know who Ashton kind of reminds me of? Is I've been binge watching Scorpion over again. Ashton reminds me of Toby in Scorpion. the psychologist, the behavioralist.
I see it. I absolutely see it.
And finally, Esteros, is that his name?
Lord Esteros.
Yeah, Lord Esteros. I do trust him. I think he's totally on the up and up. I think Ashton is probably right for sending Milo to find out more about him.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's completely forthright,
yeah.
But I do think he's basically got a good heart. I think he wants to do good for the world.
And I feel like Ashton having Milo look into Lord Esteros has more to do with Ashton than Lord Esteros. Something happened to them that is making them check him out. Like something happened in Ashton's past that has them scared. Or worried, at least. Worried is probably
or apprehensive to trust, or whatever. They did get prompted to come up with a name for their party.
This feels early.
It does. It does feel a little bit early.
Feel early.
We're 2.5 years into our campaign. We don't have a permanent name for our party yet.
No.
we had a temp name, but a couple of players left.
Yeah, three of the people left, so it's time to rebrand.
Right. So, I'm really excited for episode 4. Bertrand was never my favorite Critical Role character.
Yeah, like,
I am bummed that he's gone forever.
Yeah, I'm a little. I wish he had been kidnapped instead, or and that prompted him to retire or something. But I gotta tell you, I love Travis playing Bertrand. That was amazing. I didn't know I needed Travis playing an old man in my life, but apparently I did. I am super excited to see what Travis's permanent character is going to be.
I think he's gonna rock a rogue.
Yeah.
I think because they've got
a rogue or a healer, because they talk about
they've got one cleric, and they've got Fern, and
then Dorian can do lay on
can do
not lay on hands.
Cure wounds and little things. He's got a couple of things.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna rock a rogue.
Yeah,
we'll do a predictions video where we talk more about this kind of stuff, but I think he's going to rock a rogue.
Yeah, since we didn't do a character predictions for the other people, we should do one for Travis. Yes, so stay tuned for that.
All right, I think that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, let us know by dropping a like on it. Comment down below. Let us know what you thought of Campaign 3, Episode 3, and...
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.